Good evening. You're watching State of Business on our television. This is Zinat Musafir. Let's take a look at the headlines first. Investment promotion measures key to meeting targets, says Andreas Hergenrother. Closing of gender gap vital to boost any economy, says IFC country manager. News in details. Andreas Hergenrother, delegate of German Industry and Commerce in Sri Lanka, states that Sri Lanka should undertake proactive investment promotion measures to meet its growth targets in terms of foreign direct investments. In an exclusive interview with our television, he also made the following remarks.
One of the major challenges is reliability, legal reliability. That's a very important topic. I think foreign direct investors need to be able to plan, to count on the legal frame that they find in the moment of the investment. And this is something, I think, where the government is currently setting up now also a new legal frame for investments and also making things more transparent. We see this in a very positive way. Of course, there are certain things to do. Still, if we see, for example, the Doing Business report of the World Bank, you have 10 categories that are analyzed by the World Bank, starting with setting up a business or paying taxes or registrating property, up to enforcing contracts. I think Sri Lanka is on a good way. There are a lot of opportunities, but I think for the investors, the most important thing, I think investors can cope and deal with almost any kind of regulation, but only this regulation must be reliable so that they can really plan for a midterm and a long-term strategy to have confidence in the country and to invest.
Speaking further, Hergenrother made the following remarks with regard to the long-standing Sri Lanka-Germany relationship and the areas which requires to be developed.
We see the relationship very positively on both sides, on trade and investments. We had last year a record year. German exports to Sri Lanka increased by almost 81%, and Sri Lankan export of about 13%. We had a bilateral trade volume in euros of about 1.25 billion euros. About 670 million were from Sri Lanka to Germany, and the other part, and 580 about, from Germany to Sri Lanka. We see that there is a huge potential for the future. That's why we also will have the sourcing delegation in November, because German distributors and importing companies, they are looking for new products here from Sri Lanka, and majorly focusing on apparel, on textile, on rubber products, labor protection products, etc., where this Sri Lankan industry is quite strong. There are a lot of opportunities, and particularly, of course, in the fields of apparel, rubber industry, but also logistics, ITO, BPO solutions. This could be definitely something of huge interest in Germany, where Sri Lankan exports also could significantly increase. I think there is a general lack of information and knowledge in Germany about the opportunities and also about the high quality of products that are here produced in Sri Lanka.
We're going in for a short break. Do stay tuned for more news after these commercials. Welcome back. Addressing an event in Colombo recently, the IFC country manager for Sri Lanka and Maldives, Amina Arif, highlighted the importance of increasing female labour force participation within the country. She also emphasized upon the importance of gender equality, which is a crucial element for economic growth.
Encouraging the advancement of women is more than just a moral imperative. It's an economic need. It's a business need. It's an absolute, critical, fundamental building block for the country, especially for a country like Sri Lanka. We have 25% of our households headed by women. We have a slew of incredibly talented and energetic and educated women. We cannot grow without this. So a more inclusive workforce is just beyond critical for us. We still have a ways to go, and that's not just for Sri Lanka, that's also globally. Female labor participation is still at 55% globally. It's a little over 30% in Sri Lanka. And there's still a wage gap, anywhere between 10 to 30% when you look at the global statistics. Improving female labor force participation requires a multi-pronged and multi-stakeholder approach. For one, career development initiatives can help women acquire the skills and education that is in demand. Women entrepreneurs also need greater access to credit and market linkages to establish and grow successful businesses. Better safe public transportation and improved childcare and adult care services, access to part-time work and maternity leave are also critical factors in growing women's economic participation. Workplaces must embrace gender equality in labor legislation and non-discriminatory policies, including zero tolerance for sexual harassment. For emerging economies like Sri Lanka, closing the gender gap is critical.
Speaking further, the IFC country manager for Sri Lanka and Maldives, Amina Arif, stated that they are committed to advancing gender equality and highlighted upon the initiatives that have been implemented by the IFC to improve women's workforce participation, which is one of the biggest constraints to bridging the gender gap.
Within Sri Lanka, we partnered with the Australian government to implement a 4-year Women in Work program to increase women's private sector workforce participation and in turn increase companies' profits and drive overall economic growth. Through this program, we want to look at every potential segment of women in the workforce and build holistic solutions to bridge gender gaps. For instance, we work with micro and small businesses, a lot of which are women-owned, and where access to finance is one of the biggest constraints identified. To help address this, we're working with our partner financial institutions to diversify their products and develop targeted strategies and product sets to help them reach more women more effectively. For corporates and their employees, we're working to improve the private sector's ability to recruit, retain, and promote men and women equally. At the board level, corporations that have access to diverse talent and perspectives enjoy a number of advantages. Again, here we work with institutions such as SLID to both on the demand and the supply side to improve the diversity on boards. Overall, we also work with several partner institutions and clients to improve the skills of female employees across the organization or entrepreneurs within their supply chains.
That's all the news we have for you today. Join us tomorrow with Biz Roundup on our television. Until then, take care and good night.